put that in sooner than that.
It's approximately
Yeah.
30,000. Was held back.
Well,
just can't afford to
yeah,
take
so many
any
people
risk.
said they were gonna website or something like that.
And we've set up
It's too much for me.
protected everything as best we can. And even to the point we just signed our new garbage contract
The
yesterday.
LSDs.
You got
You
that
want to
right.
mention that? That'd be great.
I went down.
And it looks like we're getting a half head.
No,
Flag acknowledgement. We begin today by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Woolastoq Whig. These territories are covered by treaties of peace and friendship of the Woolastoq Whig people, first signed with the British Crown in 1725. I now call to order our meeting. The time is 12:04. We're running a few minutes late due to technical difficulties. Have attendance been taken? Approval of the agenda.
Dave Morrison, Hamlet.
Second, Dave Bussey.
Any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Are there any conflict of interest for disclosure today? Move on now to staff report, the Aquatic Center reconciliation report. John Smith and Brett McCray, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to present today. I just want to make note, Madam Chair, that in the staff report, in terms of under the background, in the very last couple of sentences in the background, it should read received from the board or by the board and was concluded in December of 2025. I would suggest from. And we will make note of that before the documents are filed, and it's been recorded and raised with with Kelly and her role as Director of Board Operations. So it was just a typo. We apologize to the board. Madam Chair, is there any other questions in terms of that? Or we'll go right into the presentation.
It's been so noted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, thank you. Today we're here to do the aquatic reconciliation report with bringing back the documents together. And this is the final report on our involvement with regards to the Aquatic Center. The need for a new pool for the region was under discussion since 2008. In 2019, the former Regional Service Commission 11, now the Capital Region Service Commission, entered into an agreement to undertake a community needs analysis, financial feasibility assessment, and an indicative business plan for a prospective new regional aquatic facility. That work was concluded in November of 2020. And then the feasibility study was a culmination of a significant input from stakeholders. The study was born out of concern for the Sir Max Aiken Pool located at UNB and was constructed in 1967. In 2022, a funding agreement for the design phase was achieved with the communities of the city of Fredericton, the town of Oromocto, the village of New Maryland, the rural community of Hamwell, and former local service districts. At this point, I'm going to ask Brett McCray to come up and talk about the financials on the pool, and he'll just walk you through some information that's existing within the report, but it's also here before you today. We'll bring it up on screen. So Brett, if you would.
Through you, Madam Chair. As John noted, when we entered into the project, it was viewed as a sort of a sub-regional, for lack of a better term. It was before it was defined in legislation, but a project that was being undertaken by several different municipalities, including Oromocto, New Maryland, Fredericton, and Hanwell, as well as the province on behalf of the local service districts. Following the feasibility study, a funding formula was agreed to by the various participants, and you'll see that. I believe that's included in the staff report. Contributions included approximately $1.3 million from the city of Fredericton, 76,000 from Hanwell, 51,000, almost 52 from Oromocto, and approximately 47,000 from New Maryland. When we when we went through the project, we did in fact realize some savings from what the original estimates were. The province's contribution was reconciled through a draw or a holdback in funding. So when it became clear that we were going to come in under our previously estimated total, the province held back funding. That squares us up with them. And then we applied the exact same formula as the various municipalities contributed in to apply to that residual surplus that we had at the end of the project and calculate the reimbursements to the various municipalities. The other thing I'd note on the financial side of things, when we did enter into this project, it was in 2022. Obviously, we had a lot going on in 2022. We were in the middle of local government reform. There was a slight difference in the composition of the board. Many of us were here, but some new faces arrived starting in 2023. So I will revisit this. The resolutions that came from the board in 2022 referred repeatedly to the fact that the commission would, for lack of a better term, remain whole, and that the participating communities and the province would fully pay for any costs associated with undertaking the project. So we tried to internalize those costs as much as possible, so communities that weren't participating wouldn't have to bear the costs with these that were associated with the design work. So we've applied that same principle in the reimbursement. We've internalized it. You can think of it almost as a profit center. And we've realized a surplus in that profit center, and we're reimbursing to the participants based on that original formula that was used.
Thank you, Brett. So in terms of the funding agreement was supported, just to round that out a little bit with Brett, the funding agreement was supported by the government of New Brunswick and the government of Canada through funding programs such as the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Fund, Community Building Fund, and the Canada Community Building Fund, formerly the Gas Tax Fund. All requirements of the funding have been met, and the Capital Region Service Commission managed the architectural and design process from 2022 into 2020 to the end of 25, and we've been still managing it slightly, just as a courtesy to ensure that we close it out properly. In 2022, we contracted with Collier Projects Leaders. In 2023, the architectural and design contract was awarded to Perkins and Will in partnership with Murdoch and Boyd, which are a New Brunswick-based company. And throughout the process, we worked with a steering committee made up of CAOs and representatives of the CRSC. So there was time spent by the 5 participating communities, the local service manager on behalf of the local service districts, and of course, or on behalf of the regional rural district. Sorry, apologies, Director Forsyth on that. And then we hired Gemtech Engineers and Scientists Limited. We're engaged to lead a process based on guidelines as per the province of New Brunswick. And the process looked at the regionality, cost sharing, governance, maintenance and operations, and ownership. And we go to the board voted on June 27th, 2024 in a fully democratic process. And the vote resulted in the project not being deemed regional, sub-regional, or local. And the vote was conducted in an open and democratic, transparent process. So where are we today? And the reason that we're here today is we could have easily, or I could have easily tried to shroud this through a memo heading into the election, but we want to live our values, we want to live our transparency, and we wanted everyone to know where we are at in the process. So in December of 2025, the RSC received the final architectural and design documents. The design is for a three-tank pool system located at the Grant Harvey site with a 10-lane 25-meter competition tank, a leisure tank, and a therapy and relaxation pool. And the plans have been distributed to the participating communities. And at this point, Madam Chair, That is where we are at. If there are any questions on the presentation today, and there's a motion within the staffing report made, was suggested to the board.
Any questions around the table? Is there any questions from the people that are joined us online?
That's a question.
Oh, sorry, Marty.
Was there a total dollar amount at the end of it after the study, what it was going to cost?
For the pool?
Yeah.
Yes, it was roughly, it was basically 81 million. On Class A estimates. On Class A estimates, so.
Any other questions from the floor? Anyone that's joined us online, any questions? No?
If there's no questions, I would move that the board adopt the reconciliation report as presented by the CRSC staff.
Second by,
94.
any discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. And now I need a motion for adjournment.
Powell or Macchio?